Moving on, let's talk about the real cost of the Iran war. Now, there's a temporary ceasefire in over that 5-week Iran war that we saw. But the war is exacting a staggering toll beyond the reported Hormuz shipping charges and losses from supply disruptions as well. The cost goes beyond financial and military losses to human lives and livelihoods. The war has already forced millions from their homes, while the conflict continues to spill across borders. A United Nations study shows that the war pushed between 3 and 4 million people to below the poverty line. The research noted that the hardest hit would be concentrated in Gulf Cooperation Council and other regional countries as well, including Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, Palestine, and the Sinai Peninsula. The study estimated that the regional unemployment rate could rise by as much as 4 percentage points, costing some 3.6 million jobs. The UN research also showed that the Iran war could wipe out nearly $200 billion worth of economic growth across the Gulf nations. Each of the regions are set to lose more than 5% of their GDP. For Israel, reports peg that the economic loss is at $15 billion. The financial burden on the United States has already skyrocketed. Pentagon figures reveal that in just the first 6 days, Washington spent a massive $11.3 billion. In the early phase, daily expenses surged to nearly $1 billion. Those costs, though, have since tapered slightly due to the use of cheaper munitions and a slowdown in Iranian missile launches. However, missile defense systems alone initially burned through an estimated $5 billion per day. By mid-March, Pentagon data showed cumulative costs and already crossed $18 billion. Other projections suggest that over the 5 weeks, the total cost could be anywhere between $30 and $45 billion. An estimate from the Penn-Wharton budget model shows that direct U.S. military spending has already reached between $27 billion and $28 billion. If operations continue, even at the reduced pace, the total could climb to nearly $47 billion by the end of April. Another assessment shows that the Iran war cost Tracker Life places total much higher at around $44 billion. These figures, though, do not include indirect costs. They also do not account for long-term expenses such as veteran care and rehabilitation. Nor do the estimates include the rebuilding cost of critical infrastructure like hospitals, medical facilities, and even UNESCO heritage sites damaged or destroyed. The additional costs from equipment replacement, energy infrastructure damage, and production losses, they are also not included in those estimates. The economic ripple effects of the Iran war are now being felt beyond the battlefield. Crude prices have surged about 50% from the pre-war levels, and as a result, estimates show a cut in annual global GDP growth by 0.5 to 1%. Gas prices in the U.S. have surged past $4 per gallon, adding an estimated $8.5 billion in additional costs for consumers. The mounting price tag underscores a growing reality. The Iran war is not just a military engagement, it is an increasingly expensive global crisis. A fragile 2-week ceasefire has now been agreed upon, but the geopolitical consequences are already visible. Global perceptions of the U.S. have shifted, with growing scrutiny over its role in the conflict. Meanwhile, there are several unanswered questions and hidden costs on shipping through the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. But for now, as the ceasefire holds, the world watches closely, aware that the situation remains volatile and far from resolved.